On this Monday night, legendary movie maker Rob Reiner and his wife murdered, their son in custody.
It's just a sad, shocking day.
The tributes to Reiner, who left an indelible mark on Hollywood and beyond. New details emerge about the Australian terror suspects, the victims, and the hero who took down one of the gunmen as Canada's Jewish community grieves.
My heart is broken, but my spirit is alive.
On high alert, the warning of what's to come in BC's flood zone, even as floodwaters recede. Plus, averting disaster.
It's outrageous.
What almost happened between a commercial flight and a U.S. military plane.
Global National with Donna Friesen.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. It is a dark and tragic end to the life of prominent Hollywood film director and actor Rob Reiner. His son Nick has been arrested on suspicion of murder after his parents were found stabbed to death in their Los Angeles home on Sunday. Nick Reiner has a long history of drug addiction. Tributes are flowing in for Rob Reiner, who started out as an actor and went on to direct multiple hit movies, including When Harry Met Sally and The Princess Bride. Jackson Proskow has our top story on what's been revealed about the murders.
Rob Reiner's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame is becoming a growing tribute to the celebrated director and his wife, Michele Singer Reiner. They were found stabbed to death inside their Los Angeles home Sunday afternoon. Monday, police confirmed their son, 32-year-old Nick Reiner, was in custody.
They worked throughout the night on this case and were able to take into custody Nick Reiner, a suspect in this case. He was subsequently booked for murder.
The 78-year-old Reiner was a Hollywood legend, described as a big-hearted genius.
You are a meathead.
Rose to fame playing Archie Bunker's son-in-law on All in the Family, and went on to direct and act in a library of beloved films, becoming a champion of progressive causes along the way.
Oh, I'm shocked. And I remember him from way back when, starting with All in the Family.
Rob was like a father to me. He was like a father to me.
Jerry O'Connell was a child actor in Reiner's classic film Stand By Me.
Everything I have is because of Rob Reiner. Everything I have. Everything I have. It's just a sad, shocking day.
Police haven't revealed further details about the circumstances of their deaths. Their son Nick, the lone suspect, had spoken openly about his struggles with drug use and homelessness over the years.
It was never about the drugs. All I ever wanted was a way to kill the noise.
He and his father co-wrote the film Being Charlie, loosely based on his story. He recently appeared alongside his parents at the premiere of Reiner's latest film. Now the family home is a crime scene for a tragedy that has shaken the worlds of entertainment and politics. Jackson Proskow, Global News, Washington.
Rob Reiner was known for work behind the camera and in front of it, and for his politics. A little later, Eric Sorensen looks at his legacy. Now to that massacre on Bondi Beach in Australia. 15 people were killed and dozens injured when two gunmen targeted Jewish people who were celebrating Hanukkah, the Jewish festival of lights. Police say the gunmen were a father and son. And Australia's Prime Minister says there's no evidence they were part of a larger terrorist cell. Many Jewish Australians, though, say the attack on their community is a realization of their worst fears.
It's just grief, utter grief. Anger will set in, but at the moment it's more disbelief than anything.
Redmond Shannon reports on what we know about the shooting and the gunman.
Grief and shock in what is normally a place and time of joy.
I just feel like we live in a different time now, like not an Australia that we grew up in.
Sunday's attack targeting an event marking the first day of Hanukkah is Australia's worst mass shooting since the Port Arthur massacre in 1996. Among the victims at the iconic Bondi Beach, a 10-year-old girl named Matilda. 87-year-old Holocaust survivor Alexander Kleitman. He reportedly died shielding his wife. And two rabbis celebrating Judaism's Festival of Lights.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil. an act of terror, an act of anti-Semitism.
After Port Arthur, Australia heavily restricted gun ownership, something Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says he's prepared to double down on.
We'll put on the agenda of the National Cabinet tougher gun laws, including limits on the number of guns that can be used.
Police say one of the two suspects, 50-year-old Sajid Akram, had licenses for 6 firearms. Akram, who died at the scene, had been in Australia 27 years. His 24-year-old Australian-born son, Naveed, is injured and in custody. Albanese says authorities investigated the son in 2019 over who he was associating with, but found no threat. Hope is in short supply after the shooting, but many Australians are holding on to this moment. The remarkable and extreme bravery of 43-year-old Ahmed al-Ahmed. The father of 2 disarmed one of the shooters and was shot in the shoulder by the other. He is credited with potentially saving many lives. A crowdfunding campaign for the fruit store owner has already raised about $1.5 million. From his hospital bed, he thanks everyone and urges his mother not to worry. Redmond Shannon, Global News, London.
Police across Canada are promising to increase their presence during the 8-day Hanukkah festival. Canada's Threat Assessment Agency says there is no proof of a credible threat to Jewish holiday events in this country, but that a violent extremist attack is still a realistic possibility. Heather Urix-West reports.
At Hanukkah celebrations across Canada, there are feelings of defiance and fear.
It's really very much mixed emotions. So on the one hand, we cry, we mourn, and we grieve. On the other hand, we move on, we grow, we shed light to others.
My heart is broken, but my spirit is alive and only getting stronger.
Sunday's attack at a similar gathering in Australia has horrified the world. But for Jewish Australians, that something so deadly would happen now has not come as a surprise.
It's a day that we had, I suppose in many ways, warned government and higher authorities of the possibility and the risk.
Australia has seen a rise in anti-Semitic incidents in recent years, fueled in part by Israel's war in Gaza.
I was in Australia only a week ago, and the parallels were so striking. The rise of anti-Semitism in Australia parallels the rise of anti-Semitism here in Canada.
Canada's Centre for Israel and Jewish Affairs says the attack in Australia needs to come as a wake-up call for government officials and law enforcement in this country, that more needs to be done to ensure the safety of the Jewish community.
We will be stepping up our presence at the menorah lighting tonight in the wake of that tragedy in Australia, and we're also stepping up patrols in other key events over Hanukkah.
But members of Canada's Muslim community say they're concerned about their safety too.
Backlashes are already started on Muslim people, and even if it is not Muslims are observing it happening right around them,
leaving community members to navigate anguish and anxiety in what should be a season of hope. Heather Urix-West, Global News, Calgary.
In the U.S., police are still searching for the person who opened fire on the campus of Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. Authorities released this video they say shows a person of interest. 2 students were killed and 9 others injured in the attack on the university's physics and engineering building. A man was taken into custody on Sunday morning but was released Sunday night. Police say there's no credible active threat to the community, but with no one in custody, fears remain. The FBI says a plot to carry out a string of bombings in Southern California has been foiled. 4 people were arrested in the Mojave Desert, where authorities say they were rehearsing the plot by building and testing pipe bombs. The FBI says they were members of a radical anti-government group motivated by anti-law enforcement and pro-Palestinian views.
The subject arrested envisioned planting backpacks with improvised explosive devices to be detonated at multiple locations in Southern California, targeting U.S. companies. These bombs were to blow up at the same time on midnight this New Year's Eve. The plan stated that the IEDs would be complex pipe bombs, It included instructions on how to manufacture the bombs and contained guidance on how to avoid leaving evidence behind that could be traced back to them.
A fifth suspect was arrested in connection to a planned attack in New Orleans. The U.S. president is pledging to step up his attempts to end the flow of illicit drugs into that country. Today, Donald Trump signed an executive order classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction.
We're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction, which is what it is. No bomb does what this is doing. 200 to 300,000 people die every year that we know of.
President Trump is also doubling down on his threat to launch military ground action against Venezuela, alleging that country's government is helping drug cartels smuggle narcotics into the U.S. U.S. forces have made more than 20 strikes on boats in the Caribbean, claiming without providing evidence that they were carrying drugs. In British Columbia's Fraser Valley, the floodwater is now starting to recede after the region was hit by a powerful atmospheric river. A number of major highways have reopened, but the danger has not fully receded. Angela Jung reports from the hard-hit Sumas Prairie in Abbotsford.
Much of the floodwaters have receded here in the Sumas Prairie, but there are still pockets in which the roads are completely impassable. That's why there are barricades still up, because further down this road, it's completely washed out. About 100 homes are under evacuation order, while people in 1,200 homes are being told to be ready to leave at a moment's notice.
The ground is saturated in many areas. The rivers are full. Additional rainfall is going to increase the potential for more flooding and landslides. Folks should avoid riverbanks and waterways. The water is very high and the banks may not be stable.
Peak flows in streams are occurring and will continue to occur over the next couple hours before starting to recede. A flood warning does remain on the Sumas and Chilliwack River, though the Nooksack River is not expected to overtop its banks.
The province says it's deployed over 30,000 sandbags, 2 major corridors. Portions of Highway 1 and the Sea to Sky were closed overnight as a precaution. Those have since reopened. A travel advisory remains in place. The province says it will continue to monitor the situation and assess the damage, but warns with no relief forecasted, the situation could quickly change.
We're not out of the woods yet, as there's forecasting rain over the next day.
As the region continues to get soaked, some here in the Sumas Prairie are also dealing with power outages due to wicked winds. Donna.
All right, Angela Jung in Abbotsford, BC, thank you. A grim reminder about the flu.
This is not just a routine cough or cold. This infection sadly will kill anywhere from 400 to 500,000 people per year on the planet.
Coming up, what doctors are saying about 3 children who died in the Ottawa area. Plus, averting disaster, what happened when a commercial flight came close to a U.S. Air Force jet near Venezuela. There is a warning tonight about the risks of flu. 3 children in the Ottawa area have died from flu-related complications this month. Ottawa Public Health says they were between the ages of 5 and 9. The region has had a rapid and significant rise in influenza A cases. In light of the intensity of the strain of this year's flu, the health authority is strongly recommending everyone 6 months and older get vaccinated as soon as possible.
We're still seeing a rise in influenza cases. It's probably going to peak sometime around the holiday season. But even after it peaks, remember, you've got a big mountain to climb down the other side of. So there's still a lot of flu season ahead of us. So it's definitely not too late to get a flu shot if you haven't got one already.
Hospitals across the country are reporting a surge in flu-related cases and admissions. There is some mixed news from Stats Canada on affordability today. According to new numbers, Canada's annual inflation rate held steady in November at 2.2%, but grocery prices are up 4.7% compared to last year, now at their highest rate since December of 2023. The agency says surging prices for fresh fruit are mostly to blame, combined with higher prices for beef and coffee because of supply challenges and tariffs. An apparent near collision between a JetBlue commercial flight and an American military plane is now under review by the U.S. Department of Defense. The passenger jet was flying from the Caribbean nation of Curacao to New York, passing just off the coast of Venezuela, when the pilot reported encountering the Air Force jet.
Now, they passed directly in our flight path. We had to stop our climb. They are not painting. They don't have their transponder turned on. It's outrageous.
Yes, I don't have anything on my scope. But there have been outrageous with the unidentified aircraft within our airspace. You are totally right, sir.
Oh, I apologize. If you can make a note of it, we almost had a midair collision up here.
The U.S. is building up its military presence in the Caribbean as part of what it calls an expanded campaign to target the smuggling of drugs into the United States. U.S. flight operators have been advised to exercise caution near Venezuelan airspace. Ahead, why the new head of Britain's MI6 says the threat from Russia expands far beyond neighboring countries. After 2 days of intense talks, a U.S.-backed peace deal to end Russia's war in Ukraine appears to be inching closer to reality. Ukraine is seeking a deal to hold all of its existing territory and receive security guarantees from the United States. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is offering a major concession, saying his government will give up on its goal of joining NATO, at least for now. At the same time, Britain's new spy chief is warning of the threat Russia's president poses to all of Europe.
We all continue to face the menace of an aggressive, expansionist and revisionist Russia seeking to subjugate Ukraine and harass NATO. I find it harrowing that hundreds of thousands have died, with the toll mounting every day because of Putin's historical distortions and his compromised desire for respect. He is dragging out negotiations and shifting the cost of war onto his own population.
More European leaders are now in Berlin, Germany, with another day of talks scheduled for tomorrow. A Hong Kong court has found media tycoon and pro-democracy figure Jimmy Lai guilty of sedition and foreign collusion. The conviction could see the 78-year-old spend the remainder of his life in prison. The ruling was delivered by Chinese government-vetted judges who say Lai colluded with foreign countries and endangered national security by publishing seditious articles through his now-defunct newspaper. Lai was arrested in August of 2020 under a Beijing-imposed national security law. Today, one of his sons condemned the conviction while voicing concerns over his father's health.
His health has deteriorated massively. This year alone, he's lost 10 kilos. There's reports of him, losing his nails, just peeling off, and his teeth are rotting, and his muscles are getting infected. It's incredibly heartbreaking.
Lai is also a British national. The UK Foreign Secretary condemned the verdict as politically motivated. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister agrees and is calling for Lai's immediate release. A right-wing candidate who campaigned on a law and order and anti-immigration platform has been elected Chile's new president. Jose Antonio Cast won a resounding victory over his leftist opponent. During the campaign, he promised to build a wall along the country's borders with Bolivia and Peru, create an immigration police force modeled on America's ICE, and crack down on organized crime. Chile has been ruled by a string of leftist and centrist governments since the fall of the country's military dictatorship in 1990. Actor, director, producer, and social activist. Next, remembering the multi-talented Rob Reiner.
Who the has the goddamn gall to call his house on a Tuesday night? God damn it!
You're gonna miss it!
Oh, please, tell me something I don't know. I wait all week for the equalizer, and they have to Hello?
That was Rob Reiner in The Wolf of Wall Street, one of the many colorful roles he's being remembered for. He was a rarity in Hollywood, known both for his work in front of and behind the camera. It seemed no genre was too daunting for him, whether fantasy like The Princess Bride or the courtroom drama of A Few Good Men. Reiner was also politically active, championing progressive causes. And as Eric Sorensen explains, his legacy reaches far beyond the silver screen.
Rob Reiner's start in showbiz was almost tailor-made for him.
Well, you got some opinion of mankind.
All in the Family, a comedy playing a left-wing liberal character.
Don't you see if everybody felt the way you do?
Everybody does.
I don't. That's 'cause you're a meathead.
In real life,
I grew up in a house where, we talked about civil rights.
a socially conscious household steeped in laughs. His dad was comedy legend Carl Reiner. And Rob cast his own mom for one of the funniest movie lines ever.
Yes! Yes! Oh!
I'll have what she's having.
It's a bit of a departure. He was the supposed documentary maker in This Is Spinal Tap.
The makeup of your audience seems to be young boys. Oh, it's a sexual thing, really.
But it was also the beginning of Reiner's serious work behind the cameras. He was a versatile director. From the coming-of-age classic Stand By Me to the hard-hitting military drama A Few Good Men.
You can't handle the truth.
To the light-hearted fairy tale Princess Bride.
The minute his head is in view, hit it with the rock!
I never know what's going to work, what's going to... I try to get something I like. And if I like it, then I say, well, at least I like it. Hopefully somebody else is going to like it.
Like Michael from All in the Family, Reiner still got worked up by politics.
Trump, who actually tells you he's going to govern like an authoritarian. He says it.
U.S. President Donald Trump used the tragic passing to accuse Reiner of Trump derangement syndrome. But so many others are mourning the loss. Mira Sorvino, a wonderful actor, an iconic director. Ben Stiller, he made some of the most formative movies for my generation. And a previous president, Barack Obama, posted, beneath all the stories he produced was a deep belief in the goodness of people.
The last person I want to talk to before I go...
Reiner met his wife Michele while filming When Harry Met Sally. It's said that it caused him to change it to a happy ending.
Because when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible.
Reiner and his wife gave their time to childhood development programs. His creative genius will live on in films. But Rob and Michele Reiner will also be remembered for the causes they took up to help others.
And that is Global National for this Monday. I'm Donna Friesen. Tonight's Your Canada is Whitehorse. We'd love to see your Canada. Please email it to us. And thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.